That sound you hear is the sound of the first puck dropping in the first game of the first ever PWHL season. Of course, January 1st is just the first game of the complete 72-game season for all original 6 teams. There's a lot happening and a lot of excitement and headlines to go over, so let's get started. One of the things that people were really interested in is where to watch the games in Canada. The games will be on TSN for the most part, and in the US it looks like there will be coverage on the local sports cable channels, but also good news that all the games will be available on YouTube. So while this video is concentrating on the overall league news, don't forget we do have a separate video previewing all 6 teams and the outlook for each one, including my prediction of who is going to win it all. Early December saw all 6 teams take part in a training camp in Utica University's Nexus Center. You could sense the excitement overall as the players got to hit the ice as professional athletes for the first time in their careers. Some thought it might be just more like casual scrimmaging, but it was intense. Players were trying to make the teams, of course. In a historic moment, Toronto and Boston faced off in the first ever PWHL game, even though it was an exhibition, and Blair Turnbull of Toronto made history by scoring the league's first goal and actually got a natural hat trick in the game. I can tell you that the New York team surprised everyone by going undefeated, and on the flip side, the Montreal team was a little bit disappointing. They didn't get a win. Team New York was a bit surprising in how well they played and looked like they could be a fan favorite for people for sure. And as for Montreal, when Pwhl gets her game together and they find her line mates with Debian in goal, I think they'll be fine. And the camp also featured a really successful FanFest on December 7th. We saw limited edition PWHL giveaways, autograph sessions, meet and greets with players, and then a scrimmage open to the public between New York and Ottawa. The players were thrilled to meet the fans. A lot of kids were there, and so it was just a great time all around. And then in a couple of more administrative notes, Minnesota has had a coaching change, with Charlie Burgraff stepping down and former NHL defender Ken Klee being named the team's new head coach. Also, we had an announcement that Cassie Campbell-Pascal was added to the league in the role of special advisor. Of course, she's a 3-time Olympian and has spent the last almost 2 decades in TV. And then we have team captains. In Toronto, Blair Turnbull from Canada will be their captain. In Montreal, of course, it's Marie-Philippe Poulin. In Ottawa, Brianne Jenner, no surprise there. New York chose Canadian defender Micah Zandy Hart for their captain. I can't find confirmation online, but in Minnesota, they have former Team USA captain Kendall Coyne-Schofield, so I wouldn't look much further than that. And then in Boston, they also have Hillary Knight, and she's a legend, so expect her to be the captain there. I'm trying to get through all of this as quickly as I can, but while I'm pausing here, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and share. It'll really help this channel get exposure. Another headline is definitely the PHF Players. I'm really happy to say that the PHF Players have fit in amazingly well. People like Michaela Grant-Mentis, Madison Packer, Jillian Dempsey, and Gigi Marvin, as well as Lauren Gable. And on defense, Boston also has Kaylee Fratkin, who was a longtime member of the Boston Pride in the PHF. All of these players fit in really well. Some stood out offensively, and it is not like taking players from a subpar league and blending them in with more star players. A lot of them were equal to or better than the PWHPA. This shows that without the combination of these 2 groups, an elite league of this caliber would never have been possible. And for PHF fans, it works the other way also. Without bringing in these players who are in the PWHPA, the skill level on the ice would never have reached this level. In the preseason, it was Elizabeth Jaguar from the PHF who led in assists, and Emma Woods led in goals. Next up, we have trades. I didn't see too much made of this, but League Commissioner Jana Hefford did mention in an interview that after the season launch, trades are allowed for any of the teams. And this is pretty exciting. It might be disruptive to the players that just found new homes, but we'll see if any of the general managers want to get creative. Next up, arenas and scheduling. Where can you find this league? Well, there will be 8 venues total that will show games this season. I'll put them here on the screen. It's a little bit of a drawback for Boston fans that their home arena is actually in Lowell, Mass. at Tsongas Center. It's about an hour's drive. And for New York as well, Their home arena is Total Mortgage Arena, which is in Bridgeport, Connecticut, actually. It's great to see that Toronto will be playing in what was the old Maple Leaf Gardens, and also fantastic that Minnesota is going to play at the XL Energy in downtown St. Paul, where the Wild play. I haven't been able to track down any information on how the playoffs will work and how the championship will be decided, but I will keep you posted for sure. Do note that there will be a break in the schedule in February to allow for 2 more games in the rivalry series between Canada and the US. And in case you're wondering who from each team is taking part in that, there's a list right here. And that brings us to our next headline, which is ticket sales. It's been going so well. We're really happy to see this. Toronto sold out their season tickets and their half-season ticket packages. Other venues like Ottawa and Montreal are really close. I think they are all but sold out there. And their facilities are actually larger venues. The American markets are lagging a little bit behind, but they seem to have established a strong following. It'll just be a matter of fans knowing exactly where and when the games are. The reaction has just been great. There were a lot of people just saying, I've waited so long for this, and a lot of tickets went really fast. And next, that brings me to the merch. It was announced on the PWHL website that they have a retail store open where you can get some merch. It's pretty basic because, you know, they don't have team names and logos, but you can order the PWHL logo itself, which would be pretty cool, and a puck or a hat, and you can rep your team with any of these items. They didn't have a ton of time to get everything absolutely the way they wanted, and logos, jerseys, and team names were one of the biggest complaints, but staying positive with it, at least they've got that base covered, so if you want something for your favorite team, you can get it. So we're going to have 5 home openers in the first 6 days of January, headlining the launch. And then, of course, you're going to have PWHL All-Stars included in Toronto in the NHL All-Star Thursday on February 1st at Scotiabank Arena, and a 3-on-3 showcase as part of the NHL All-Star Weekend. It's definitely starting off building a great foundation by partnering with the NHL on this. If you're a fan of women's hockey, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about this. So among all the excitement of the training camp and exhibition games, there were a few injuries to note, but it looks like the only significant one is going to be Sydney Brott, who has a lower leg or ankle injury, and it'll keep her out for a couple of months. So I got through all the major headlines, and don't forget, like I said, there will be a separate video with team previews and further PWHL coverage as the games get underway. Drop a comment below and let me know which team you're going to be cheering for, and if you have any questions, post them there, and I'll try to answer them in an upcoming video as well. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.